Hi everybody, I'm John Finn, and welcome to an unboxing and review of Fisto from the Masterverse, which of course is taking its current inspiration from Netflix's Masters of the Universe Revelation. Really excited about this guy. I've always been a Fisto fan since I was a kid. He was one of the vintage figures I played with all the time. I always really liked his sword, honestly. I thought that was a cool thing that he had, and I actually liked it better than the Sword of Power in the original line, because in the original line, you just had the two halves, and you had to put them together, and if you lost one half, you only had half, and it was just kind of lame. But this guy always had the full sword, so he was a lot of times my hero. Let's get this guy open. Let's take a look at what he's got. Before we do that, let's take a quick look at the back. And as usual, it's not as awesome as the Origins artwork. It's good. It's great, actually. It's fantastic art. It's just, it's not as nostalgia baity as the Origins artwork is. It's not as Conan the Barbarian, which is something I really like about the line. But it still looks cool, and it actually kind of looks like you got there on the side. I don't know what that creature is with the weird beak skull thing, but I like it, and I hope we get a figure of it eventually in any of the lines. But there he is, kicking some ass on the back. You've got some sky sleds up there, and of course, the cross cell at the bottom, which has Andra, Scareglow, and Stinkor that are also available in the Revelation line, excuse me. I've also got one more that I'm going to unbox after this guy, but I'm going to keep that as a surprise. So I'm going to open this guy up, and then we're going to come back and take a closer look at him. Okay, so quick note on opening these guys. I just realized they can be opened from the top. There's just one piece of tape, and it comes open, and then they will slide right out, which is super nice if you want to keep your packages intact. It's not quite as viscerally as satisfying as ripping everything open, but it's still, it's a nice thing to have if you want to keep these boxes intact. But you know how we do it here. We're just going to toss this, and here he is in his inner bubble. Let's get him out and take a closer look. All right, so now we've got Fisto out of the package, and we can see him in his full glory here. Of course, he came with the sword and 2 extra hand sculpts. He was equipped for some reason with a second fist on his left hand, but I switched it out with the sword-holding hand so we could see him with his accessory in hand, as it is. Some interesting things about this, though, that I kind of figured out as I was unpacking him. First of all is the fist itself. It actually is in kind of 2 parts. And I accidentally, oops, there it goes. Give me just a second. Okay, so the fist is actually in 3 parts. You've got the cuffs that kind of hold it in place, and then you have the fist itself. Kind of looks like it should shoot out of him. Oh my goodness. I swear this thing is a little greasy. It's very slippery. There's something on it that's making it slippery. I don't know what it is. But we're going to put him back together here. You can see how the gauntlet comes off. Just an FYI if you get it. And the fist is a little bit heavier than the rest of the plastic too, so keep that in mind. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely a kind of a grease inside the fist here, but it does give it a little bit more articulation because you can turn it within the gauntlet itself, which is kind of cool. The original was just a solid fist from the forearm down, but it does sacrifice the forearm tilt. You can't twist it at the forearm. Of course, all the rest of the articulations, just like the rest of the Revelations line, you've got shoulders, you've got biceps, you've got the wrists that swivel back and forth, you've got the double jointed elbows. The elbows seem fine. The top part of the joint doesn't really do much articulation because the muscles get in the way and the sculpt kind of gets in the way of that becoming useful. But it's nice that it's there. It's a good little option. They probably would have been reamed for not including that this figure. The face sculpt is fantastic. This is probably my favorite Fisto head sculpt that I've ever seen. I like it better than the Origins line, definitely. The armor, not quite as much detail. It's kind of fun that you can see some of the brush strokes there in the silver. I like that for some reason. I don't know why. Of course, he's got the same basic loincloth as the other heroes like He-Man and Faker and stuff. Same kind of leg articulation. Knees, same, double jointed, bend pretty okay. No real stiffness there. Boot swivel, foot swivel, and tilt. So that looks pretty cool. One thing about this that I want to note that it has in common with my Skelegod back here is that this shoulder is very tight. It'll go up, it struggles coming down, and that's about as far down as it's going to come. And it's not because of contact. It looks like it might be because of contact there, but it's not, because this arm will come down even further. And actually, on my Skelegod figure, which you can see here in the back, the reason he's not on full display is because his right arm completely snapped off when I was trying to fold the shoulder down. So that was a bummer. I did contact Mattel, and they are sending me a refund so I can get another one of the figures, and then I will complete the review at that point and get that posted if I haven't already. But I like this guy. He's got a lot of good detail. His articulation is really good, except for that left shoulder is a little bit stiff. The fist is weird in that it's 3 parts that connect to the arm, and there's some kind of grease inside to help make sure it can still articulate. So if it does fall apart on you, just keep that in mind. You want to have a little towel there handy so you can clean it up and get this stuff off your hands. But I like this guy. His sword is beautiful. He's got some pretty good articulation, and I'm looking forward to using him in some future storytelling possibilities. Let's get him straightened back out. And let's do our single hand stand test to make sure he can pass that. It's where we just stand him with a single hand, basically. See if we can get it. Yeah, he stands just fine. He matches up with the rest of the line pretty well. It doesn't look like he's quite as tall as He-Man. No, he's not. Thaker's a little bit taller than him, so we know that He-Man will be as well. But he's stout. His face sculpt is fantastic. The sword is my favorite version of this sword that we've ever seen, so that's amazing. The fist is a little bit wonky, but still really great detail. It's got a really nice silver finish to it. It's not vac metal, but it still looks really cool. It's not about, well, I guess it's close to the shininess of Faker, but it's a slightly different color, so it doesn't quite show in the same way. But I like this guy. Fisto's always been one of my favorite characters. I just think he was criminally underused in the Filmation series and in Revelation. I hope they find a way to bring him back if they do future Revelations episodes, or whatever future Masters of the Universe cartoons we get. I do hope Fisto gets a more prominent role, because he's a cool character. He's cool design, and I think he really deserves it. Anyway, I hope you keep collecting the way you like to collect, whether that's keeping your figures mock or opening them for display or for play. However you like to do it's the right way to do it. And if anybody else tells you otherwise, go over to their house, switch out their regular coffee for decaffeinated coffee, and then leave. And that's all you got to do. Until next time, I'm John Finn, and I'm out.